cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today's video. Hold on. Born Supreme. I almost forgot. Shout out to Born Supreme. How you doing, big dog? Last night during my live, Born Supreme asked me, why don't I do a video talking about the jobs, some of the jobs in prison out here in California. And he said, you know, nobody's ever really broke that down. And I said, you know what? I'll throw it out there. See if you guys are interested. You know, it's a trip how, you know, it seems like nowadays with this new generation, people want to do the least amount of work for the most amount of money. People want to be a manager. They'll apply for a job as a manager with zero work experience and then get all butthurt when they're not the manager. They're not a skilled worker and they want 25, 26 bucks an hour. You know what I mean? Like it's such a trip. And a lot of those same people are in the streets. Talking about fucking 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is for suckers. And then they go to the joint. And I have a little list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 jobs right here that we're gonna discuss. So these dudes don't want to do a 9 to 5. A 9 to 5 is for a sucker. Only suckers work 9 to 5s. And these vatos are selling fucking crumbs. Selling crumbs out there or doing a robbery and want for fucking 700, 800 bucks and wind up with a 15-year term. And the guys with a 9 to 5 are a sucker. They're going home every night to a beautiful wife, beautiful family, and great food. Hopefully great sex. And these vatos are going to go do 15 years and hope they can get one of these jobs we're going to talk about. So, and if they get one of these jobs, they might not get paid. There's not paying everybody that gets assigned. It takes years. In the California Department of Corrections, it takes years to get assigned to a job. It can take up to a year to get assigned to education sometimes, right? And then you're waiting 2 or 3 years to get a job. You get that job and there's no pay number. So you got to work your way up. You got to work your way up to 8 cents an hour. Whoa, hold on. 8 cents an hour, baby. Yup. Then maybe you work yourself all the way up to 12 cents. Where you at? 12 cents an hour. You shot that. Meanwhile, the dummies working 9 to 5 are making 30 bucks an hour, 40 bucks an hour, 50 bucks, whatever those dummies make. You know what I'm saying? The fucking backwards way of thinking. Believe me, I was the same way for a long time. So, we are going to start with the tier tenders. California, I don't know how to talk anymore. California Department of Corrections. Every prison has them. I'm sure they call them tier tenders in other, I don't know. They might call them something else in other states. In California, it's a tier tender. Tier tenders are the guys that are cleaning the pods. They're sweeping, they're mopping, picking up trash. Picking up trays. If they're self-feeding, they're picking up the trays. That's pretty much their job description, right? And that job assignment doesn't really have very many pay numbers at all. I believe if you're a tier tender, there's 6 per crew. There's 2 crews. There's the AM shift and the PM shift. And I believe there's 6. 2 for each section, right? Now, your job assignment, when you get it, the Department of Corrections has your job assignment, what you are expected to do. Fuck what they want. Who you run with, the faction you run with, you have job responsibilities according to them too. So, as a tier tender, if you get assigned as a tier tender, you will be passing weapons for your people. You will be passing drugs for your people. phones, hot kites, which are, notes that have very important stuff in them. You will be responsible for the tier. If you're out at work and somebody decides they don't want to be there anymore and they're from your faction, you are responsible. If you are out and have access to that individual, you are responsible to try to get that person. He can't just, he's not allowed to just walk out. If you can get action to him, it's your responsibility to take him to the dirt. So, again, those that don't want to work a 9 to 5, you might have went in with 15 years. But guess what? The guy over there in cell 215 has decided he's locking it up. You're in the rotunda. You're sweeping. There's a dummy in the tower that doesn't know what he's doing. They crack the door. You over here, you got one piecing up, right? You're strapped. You're on the tier, so you're strapped. There you go. Congratulations on turning your 15 years or your 8 years or your 10 years into a life sentence, man. Fuck a 9 to 5. Now you're doing 20 to life. Yard crew. Yard crew is another job. Oh, however, let me. So for those of you that want to go to prison and you got no hustle, the tier tender is a hustle. It's a hustle spot, right? You're gonna be passing all these things, and let's say the homie in this cell needs to get a bag of wine from his cell to another cell. You pass it. He's going to be like, hey, homie, do me a favor. Can you pass this? I got a tumbler for you. So, bam, you pass it. They got a tumbler for you. Then you probably cool with the homies that got the wine, right? So you kick it. You post up on their door. Your job's done. You got your broom in your hand. You're cool. You're kicking it on his door. He's like, hey, fool, you want a copa? Bam. You got another tumbler. Hey, homies, I'll be right back, homie. The homie's calling me over here. Maybe this dude needs you to move some weed from this cell to that cell. Hey, homie, you want a leño? I got you, eh? So now you go back to the homies that have the bag of wine and you're puffing on weed and drinking. Now, you're not supposed to drink on the tier, but, I'm putting the scenario out there. So now you're smoking herb with these cats, blazed out, got your wine. So that, I guess, if you're into drinking and smoking, getting high, getting heroin, whatever your drug of choice is, you're a tier tender, you will be passing it. And you will get broken off if it's your thing. And if it's a cool dude that has the bag and he knows you don't use, he's going to tell you, hey, homie, can you do me a favor? Hey, run that for me. Drop this off. And when you're done, come back. I got something for you. You come back and he kick you down a cuartito, or maybe he doesn't have much. He gives you a $50 paper. But here, homie, make sure you put something in your locker for you, eh? Don't even trip. That's what a dude with the bag that has the bag does to make sure that the tier tenders are happy to be running for him, even though they have to. Now, yard crew. Yard crew, it's the same deal. Sometimes you get a pay number. Most of the time you don't. Now, the yard crew guys get to be on the yard all day long. That's right. Yard all day long. That's fucking feed, man. I'm not in the cell, but you know what? If anything cracks off on that yard, believe you are front line at all times. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're there. So you are always going to be out there, always ready. Again, you'll be burying pieces, moving pieces, aeons. I remember a dude, this is a long time ago. This bottle was on the recycling crew in B facility in New Folsom. And he would go and get boxes of oranges. The Hudas didn't give a fuck. Get boxes of oranges and push his big old cart to the different blocks and drop off boxes of oranges to sales. That was the recycling crew in New Folsom. But again, this is one of those things. If you're a yard crew, yard's not even out. Yard crew will be out there in between yards. Yard crew can be out there if you need to. You can go in, use the bathroom, whatever you want to do, eat something real quick, come out. But normally that's not gonna happen. You're gonna bring your lunch out, right? But let's say that vato in that building made it through the rotunda. The tier tenor didn't get him. The yard crew's out there. If he walks past you anywhere near you, guess what? Again, that 15-year term, 10-year term, whatever. Let's say you have 15-year term. You only got 2 years left. But you get action at this guy. Not no more, player. You got no action of going home for a very long time if you're lucky, right? Yard crew is, I mean, don't get me wrong. Out of all the jobs I'm going to mention here, that's probably the one that dudes want the most. That's where the action's at. You're on the yard all day. And any pegadas that go, any hits, it doesn't matter what faction, you get to see it. Another thing yard crew is going to be doing. You're on the yard crew. Not only you are in charge of, if the fellas say, hey, we need you to bury some pieces out there. All right, boom. You're the one that's going to get them out there. So you get them out there, boom, you put them away where they need to go. Where there's various places that they can be put. And but it's also important that you're paying attention to the other yard crew dudes. If dudes from another faction slip and let you see where they're burying something, first chance you get, when they not looking, you better go get that thing. You let the homies know, hey, I found out their spot, homes. And then say, okay, make sure you get those. First opportunity, you go grab those. You get caught, it could be a war. But a lot of times you'll be told, hey, homes, if you see where they're putting them, get them. You don't know if they're going to be using them that day or not. You don't know who the target is, right? Kitchen workers. So kitchen workers, and let's say in a 180, there's 4 satellite chow halls, they call them, right? In between every 2 units, there's a chow hall. It's a small chow hall. You're really doing nothing in there. You're either serving food, washing dishes, or wiping down the tables. Then after, you sweep and mop or whatever. That's another job you get again. And every one of these jobs I'm going to mention, you probably, when you first get hired, you're not going to get a pay number at all. If you first open a joint, then yeah, you're the first one assigned. You're going to get a pay number. But hopefully you see the common thread in the chow hall. There could be a scenario where somebody has to get hit. The yard crew, especially, hold on, let me rewind. Boom. The yard crew, a lot of times yard crew dudes are the ones that do a lot of the work because they can be out at all times. Barbers, the kitchen workers or whatever, that's really boring. Barbers, I forgot, I didn't even put them on the list. Barbers. The barber is it's an important job. The barber can get into any building at any time. You could be on the yard and you see the barber coming out of 1 block. A very extremely important message needs to get into 3 block. Wave the barber down. Hey, come here, homie. What building you going into next? I was supposed to go into 2. You're going into 3, homie. And you already struck up the weed line. Or you can give them the verbal, hey, homes, you need to tell so-and-so right now. Okay, boom, they go. But with every one of these jobs, every one of these job assignments, you have to understand, when you are out of your cell, you have access to more people. Therefore, you have a higher likelihood of stabbing somebody or getting stabbed. Based on, is there a rival faction that plans on doing something? If so, they know This vato's assigned this. He's assigned to this. That vato's assigned to that. And if you're a target, believe they know your job assignment. Main kitchen workers, those guys, they got it plush. They're not eating what we're eating on the yard. They're eating a whole lot better stuff. When I was in New Folsom the second time, the homies in the main kitchen, I was yard crew. The homies in the main kitchen would come out when they released the main kitchen. Speed, man. They would usually release it in between yards. They would bring me homemade pizzas that they made back there. They would bring me big ass burgers where the cheese was inside the burgers all melted. They would bring me these chicken strips because the Juras had their own dining room or some shit in there. And so they would steal the food from them for me and bring it to me. I was eating. Mind you, I'm in prison. I think I'm eating excellent. I probably wouldn't eat that shit for nothing at this point. Main kitchen workers. Yard crew, any position, any job, as far as like, let's say for the Southerners, right? Southern raza. Any job assignment they have, anytime they're outside of their cell, they know what it is inside their cell. But anytime they're outside of their cell and they're in a different place, one thing that they're always doing, looking for weapon stock. They're looking around like, okay, how can I break that down? And they'll figure it out. You know, how do I break that down? Okay, how do I get that moved to where it needs to go? They'll figure it all out. But that's part of your job assignment as well. Remember, the CDC has their job responsibility. Fuck their responsibilities. You know, in prison, you go to prison in California, there's two sets of rules. There's the rules that the CO's got, and then there's the rules your faction has. What rules do you think you're going to abide by? You know what I'm saying? Prison is not... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this topic. There's a lot more I could say now. Well, I want to end on one particular job assignment. It's a job assignment just about no one wants. As far as raza, just about nobody wants. And it's a program office clerk. The program office is basically the police department. It's where all the COs hang out when they're not in the yard. That's where the captain's at. That's where the lieutenant is. The sergeant's probably going to be in there. Especially the program sergeant, he's going to be in there. The yard sergeant will be on the yard. And it's fenced off thanks to the East Coast Crips. They made the whole entire CDC put fences around that front door. My bad for laughing. But just imagine you're assigned as a program clerk. You're hanging out in prison, level 4, 180 yard. You got miserable motherfuckers in there that are dying to find somebody to whack. And there you are assigned to the program office. I remember, I think, well, told you the story about Richie the Rat. I think he's the only Southerner that I ever saw assigned ever to the program office. As far as Southerners. I saw vatos that were assigned as like the janitor, but they would do like the school area and the program office. A-homes, they would come on and be like, A-homes, they would ask homies like, hey, look, they're going to send me in there to pick up the trash. Can you post up? So, have homies, so they would see like he went in, got the trash, came out, and he sat down in front of the program office right there in front of it until they let him out. Because he wanted motherfuckers to know, hey, I was only in there like 2 minutes, homie. I don't hang out. Program clerk jobs, like I said, I don't ever remember. I remember I don't know what he ran with. He was like a Colombian or Cuban dude. But the program office, it's a trip because no raza wants to work in there. But there's stuff in there we always need. And the raza always gets out of there. You got the daily movement sheet. Very important. You get somebody that hits the yard. You need to know just to make sure. It could be a day that a bus arrived. That don't mean he came off the bus. Don't assume. It could be a day that people get released from ad sake. Don't assume. You get the daily movement sheet. You see that. You get the alpha roster. These names, these terms, like you guys won't get, but they're important. In there to conduct business, those can be important. I used to get the DMS every morning. That was yard crew. I would come out. They would slide me the DMS. I just wanted to make sure if there was any movements, I'm going to see them. And you're going to see every movement on that sheet for the whole prison. So it's not just your facility you're going to see. You're going to see everything. The alpha roster will have when somebody landed, when they were incarcerated, when they landed in that institution, and sometimes it'll have their AKAs on there. There's a lot of stuff, but Raza usually are never in there. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to get at is a 9-to-5 is a whole lot cooler, player. Get one of those. Stay out of the streets. Or run around in the streets, run around the neighborhood, sling your dope, shoot your guns, do whatever you want to do. But then do not cry about the time you're getting. You could have easily went to school and became a boss, start your own company. But instead, you want to hang around in the joint. And I mean, I get it. I'm trying to be funny, kind of, but I get it. I know the old mentality. I understand it. But I just feel like, hey, we've been doing it long enough, man. If you ever get in there, those of you that have never been in there, if you could have an opportunity to speak with real motherfuckers in there, they'll tell you, hey, this ain't it. We don't need you in here. We need you to become a lawyer. We need you to become a doctor. We need you to do something productive out there because we got enough knuckleheads in here. Anyways, that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor and share it. Leave a comment and let's push this on our own. Make YouTube put it in the algorithm. With that said, everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.